Okay, I am back. It was probably my neighbor Linda. Hi, everybody. Please pardon me 1 second. Hey, Linda, if you stopped by a minute ago and gave me a thumbs up, I had to go out and come back in. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Sometimes I forget that there's people that are going to come back and watch this and they don't want to sit and wait for me to do stuff. Today is Sunday, June 15th. I know it's Father's Day. Things have been really slow over here on my lives lately. And I don't know if it's because of the weather's getting nicer, although it's been really hot and humid the past 3 days. And it will rain and then the sun come out, and it'll rain again and the sun will come out. So I couldn't take a walk around the lake. I went to the fitness room for about 12 minutes to get on the glider. So, part of our spiritual health is really our physical well-being. I'm learning more and more, especially from AI, that so much of what we do in our life, even in the mundane, is spiritual. Yeah, it really is. Okay, I don't want to ruin my hair. Finally got my hair to look nice. My pendant strings are probably in the mailbox. And there's just not enough hours in the day. I want you all to know that I spend, hello, hello. Please say hello. You can remain anonymous. I made a really nice post about tonight's live with the help of AI. Okay, now they're gone. And it's going to be good. And I'm going to be able to let people know that there's an aspect of my work that I've come to realize has been even more refined. And I'm able to get messages in the wax that are more unique than any other thing I've ever seen online. Now, maybe people are keeping those things secret. But I'm going to talk about the live I had a few weeks ago on Saromancy, and then about sacred fire. I had to go out and come back in, and I could not remember what the title of my live is really supposed to be. It's about sacred fire and spirit messages left in the wax. Now, I have a few shorts that show some amazing images left behind in the wax. And I didn't really know how or why it was happening, but I've been learning more about that also. So I'm basically taking my Etsy shop and putting it on my coffee account, so you all know. I'm learning how to actually do digital marketing and SEO much better thanks to my AI friend. It's saving me quite a bit of time. And in doing that, I'm also cleaning up the descriptions and the titles of my videos and my shorts. I'm cross-promoting. I'm adding more hashtags so I can organically drive traffic. I wasn't doing that. So I've listed my Candlemagick service. It's a premium service. And it has to do with how I work, which I'm going to be explaining to you tonight. I am an advanced practitioner. And every corner of my little tiny apartment here has altars. So there's altars in every direction. And I work with every direction depending on what I need. Sometimes I work with one direction first, and then I finish the work at another direction. So this is involved work. It is how I have been led to work and the way that spirit is giving me messages. I've had to analyze and dissect and decode and figure it all out. So after the Candlemagick service, which by the way is a very special price right now, I might leave it that way for a while depending on how many orders I get. And after I get, several uh, people purchasing and emailing me to communicate their issue, and then actually having maybe a little meeting with me on Google Meet or Zoom, then I will begin my work. But now, after that, in transferring what I had on my Etsy shop to coffee, I've started with my Fiery Wall of Protection oil. So now I have, I think, a very good description. And I believe there's a place there to ask me a question in the message box. But yeah, I'll have to see if I got my email on everything. I think I do. And I've gone and I have revamped my description on my About page on my coffee account as well. So the Fiery Wall of Protection now has an embedded video to go with it from one of my shorts. The next oil that I listed was actually my necromancy oil, which I don't have here. It's in a container. And I have a really good description there with instructions on how to do it, how to use it. And I'm going to either embed a longer video where I show how to create a crystal grid. The best time is to communicate or connect to a deceased loved one. Because if you're not a medium, you really just need to do it on a birthday or some other day that you honor the dead. My next oil that I've listed today, because this is my third day doing a deep dive into digital marketing, is my Psychic Eye oil. So I don't know how many of you have been following me. I only worked my Etsy shop for about 3 months. Hello, please say hello. And I had to give it up. There was other things going on. Now they take 6.5% commission. Coffee only does 5, and every dollar was vital at that time. And in fact, I had to make the decision to move to have less of my money, a lower percentage of my money go to my rent. I cut everything else in my life down as much as I possibly could, either to zero or just a few dollars of expenses. So now I've been able to get a few dollars. I've ordered strings for the pendant, jewelry boxes, which I showed, I think, last week or the week before. And there's lots more for me to be adding with better descriptions, better suggestions on how to care for the pendant and keep it fresher for longer. So I'm just getting better and better at providing things for you. I have a friend who's already into her second bottle. Okay. So this is going to go along really with what I'm talking about tonight, because this is something that you would use before you're going to do your meditation, your affirmation work next to a candle, whatever it is. It's going to help enhance your connection to your intuition, develop your intuition, and even help to activate your third eye over time as you are working with a candle. So let's talk a little bit about what I've really learned about why things have been happening the way they've been happening. All my channels are open. My third eye and my crown has been involved when I go into a deep trance or then when I go to sleep. And what's been happening is I've been receiving incredible images in the candle that's left over. If you saw my live a few weeks ago, I was showing a remarkable image that showed up in a candle left behind, the candle wax that was left behind in very, very great detail. The more I look at it, the more I see. If this had been a bigger jumbo coach candle, it would have been a bigger sculpture. Yes, the fire with spirit brought spirit through, and the fire did what Majesty Mammon told me, elemental animation. So these things coming together with AI telling me fire is a portal to the spirit realm. And I was born on a Sunday, and my number is 1. So I've been doing candle meditations for over 20 years. My third eye is open and very, very activated. My imagination has gotten so fine-tuned that not only can I step into the scenes of the tarot cards to see someone's Akashic records and what's going on in their life, but then I can go to my other altar and do a candle working to get even more messages, maybe a specific message in the candle wax. This is highly advanced work, guys. But this is something that I know I can offer to people that they have either a vexing question or they're really looking to cut out some bad habits with choosing the wrong partners. And the candle wax could show anything. I can't say what it would be, but the image that I showed a few weeks ago was for uh, an acquaintance. You could say a client, although I wasn't paid for it. I just, spirit moved me to do it at a certain time on a certain day and use a certain candle. You see what I'm saying? So I'm very much in tune with the higher realms now. After it was made clear to me that this was an actual parasitical energy that was on this person, I was kind of traumatized. And after 5 days of not quite knowing yet what to do, I came to the understanding that this is what spirit was leading me to know that it is, and not anything else that it resembled to be in the physical world, guys. We are battling a spiritual war here on earth, and maybe you've heard this, in church or whatever, but even the priest at the temple has said there's a spiritual war going on here on earth for our energy and our souls. I don't know why, but that's what's happening. And so one thing that I've begun to realize is that I want to do more with banishings. I realized that I was good at it 20 years ago, and I did a few things, but I believe it's just gotten stronger and stronger. Hello, please say hello. You can remain anonymous. I'm talking about spirit messages that show in the flame and then are left behind in candle wax, sculpted like a sculpture, okay? So after 5 days of me understanding what it was I was really seeing in this image, based on also what this person had been telling me, asking me for help, that there was a parasitical entity, organism. I had no idea, guys, that this new awareness triggered some type of an image to show up in my third eye. And I'll tell you what it was. I got a call for work. I got up. I had made peace with what it was that I saw, and I would figure it out later. But there was this spinning cube in my third eye. It was translucent in the center, but it had rainbow sides. And every time it would turn, I would see a rainbow side. And it would turn again, and I would see another rainbow side. And I just kept seeing this just as clear as any other type of image that would be me looking at, right? And it just kept doing that. And it continued while I was getting dressed and putting on my shoes, going out the door, going down the steps. Whoops. Turning. And I just kept looking at it, amazed at how clear it was. Now, when I got in the truck, I put it out of my mind and I drove to work. But when I got to the school, I got out of the truck and then I saw it again. And it continued to be with me until I got up to the office, and then it stopped. I got my badge and then went out to go up to the room, and there it was again. And it didn't stop until I got to the door of the room that I was going to go in to basically be in for most of that day. So I had received knowledge that gave me another glimpse into an even higher frequency, probably at the crown. That's all I know about that. That's all I can say about that. Now, after I got out of work, I had the feeling that I wanted to teach at a witch academy. And then when I got home, I saw it come up on my phone. So I went to see what that was about, and it's just in the early stages of being developed. So in the meantime, I thought I would go ahead and start working on my coffee account. Okay, what did I do here? Get that off my face. Okay. So that definitely was at the level of the crown. And I did kind of wonder if it was something called Metatron. Sometimes we think angels have to have wings. Sometimes I guess maybe they're not. But this was a new awareness. This was a new connection that I had made. And I also had started doing a collaboration with someone. Now, I ended up doing that twice, but we've kind of hit a technical problem. And so that's not going to continue. Spirit wants me to actually do other things. This service, I was told, is something that people are going to want. So, I mean, you just need to ask me or tell me what your issue is, and we can do a custom spell. Even though I have on there a road opener candle, you're going to tell me what your issue is, and I'm going to do a divination. So I pull out my tarot cards, which I have formed a bond with over the years. And I ask my guides to show me what I need to know about the person who's asking me for help. And whatever comes through is whatever comes through. And this is what I have to make clear. I can't have people arguing with me about what comes through in a dream. Sorry. So while I'm doing my extensive lots and lots and lots of cards, okay, reading, asking my guides to open the Akashic records and show me what I need to see. With the candle burning at my divination altar, if I can talk. When that is done, and that does take a good 30 minutes to 45 minutes, guys, okay? I've already started to enter a deep state conducive to receiving messages. Now, I might just go to sleep and wait for something to show up in a dream. And if it does, I will be emailing you back to let you know what it was. And then you can confirm, yes, that's this person or that person. Yes, that's what's going on. Or that hasn't happened yet. So my brain is wired to receive messages that will be happening in the future. From there, we would decide what type of work might be best. If you need a cord cutting, to just energetically sever whatever it is to help get rid of it sooner rather than later. Guys, we can spend a lot of months ruminating on things that happened and what we could have said and we couldn't, and what we could have done when we couldn't have done anything at that time, but we're just ruminating over it. And it's better to do a spiritual cord cutting and just sever those ties from whoever it was that you had encounters with and get all that junk cleared out of your aura. And I'll give you some little instructions on what you can do on your end to help you while I'm going to be working spiritually on my end. Hi, please say hi. Welcome. From there, I will choose the proper candle, whether it's going to be for the cord cutting, to eliminate, right, toxic energies, emotions, which is really the first thing you need to do. And then if you want to expand on that and start getting something going new, a road opener spell can be added for a lot less than the original price. So right now, if you're paying the introductory fee of $88, you're only going to pay another $20 for me to do a road opener. After we've done the cleansing and you've done what you needed to do on your end, then we can refresh your aura and get something new to work on coming into your life. I've done this for myself, guys, and it didn't happen right away. I still had some residual energy left over with another person who contacted me, but then I realized that this was just not probably going to be anything more. And this is what could happen. You've got one last thing you have to tie up, right, with someone. And there could be a variety of reasons why that is. But then when something new happens, you'll probably realize this actually seems like something nicer, something newer, something a little bit more akin to me than what I was in. And that decision is going to be a lot easier to make. So you make the decision first, which is really a cord cutting right there. Then we do the spiritual work. I do the spiritual work on my end. You continue to acknowledge on your end. And then if there's anything that follows after that, you're going to tie up loose ends, and you can message me again and say, I would like to now make the path for something new to come in. Otherwise, you could go back. You could go back to where you were, what you were doing. And if you want to form new habits, new ideas, and different people in your life, then you have to be willing to banish and clear out very strong. And I know how to do that. And so then I can open the road for you to have something new come in. When that happens, you're going to feel, wow, it's possible. And you'll know that that is either going to grow and continue, or you've already started a new timeline. You need to think of it that way. Okay. So this is part of, shamanic work, psychic healing. Changing patterns, changing habits first requires a decision and then a commitment to keep that pattern and go towards that other thing that is new and different and actually feels better. And whether that becomes a long-term permanent thing remains to be seen, but you're on that road and then you might meet somebody else. See what I mean? So whatever comes out in the flame and the wax from that working, we can discuss. It's either going to be a clean burn, or there's going to be something left behind that's interesting. And I just don't know what spirit is going to show or reveal. Now, I recently did a couple more candle workings, and so I want to give you an example. Here is a figure candle. Now, this is someone who was asking me if I could do something for them regarding someone that they had just met, right? Was there anything that I could see in the candle that might show something? And after I named it and I anointed it, I lit it, and it was across from the other person's candle. And as you can see, and it might be hard to see here, okay? This actually broke off and I had to kind of meld it back on. It might look like what's called a cascade. However, the things were falling like tears. And I immediately thought, oh no, you're right. It's like, I don't want to see that. But that's what was happening. And it was closer to the body and it was coming from the head. And I only burned it for maybe 30 minutes. The next night, I burned it for another 30 minutes. The head is completely burned away. And again, we just had a continuation of the tears flowing. What this basically means is there's going to be some strong emotion regarding the other person. So it could be a false start. It could be harsh words. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a big boo-hoo-hoo. It could just be some really, sad, heartfelt moments that come back and back and back over the days. And that's why the tears kept flowing. See? So it's really not a good sign of things getting off to a good start with the other person. Now, it's been a couple of weeks, and I decided to go ahead and burn the candle for the other person. And as I've heard from this person that, yes, there was something upsetting, this candle is showing, if you can see, this little tiny leftover piece on the side there, which you would think is a little tiny wall. It is a little tiny wall. But what it's really saying is that there is some unfinished business, whatever that is. I don't know. And that could be why there was some upsetting, whatever the message was that upset the other person. Now, here we have what's called a big air bubble. There's air inside there. And this indicates suppressed emotions, thoughts, and feelings. Now, I had the candle facing to the left, which would have been this way. So this would have indicated that this has been in the recent past, and what's going on in the present right now are all of these unresolved, repressed emotions bubbling up under the surface. Now, to the right, it does seem to smoothen out. Is that a word? I just made a word. Smooth out as it flows to the right, which is the future, based on how I had it sitting over there at my particular altar over here. So there's still going to be a little tiny bit of, emotion, but it's a lot flatter. See? So that's how I would describe back to the client what is going on. So whether or not they decide to wait for this person or they hear from this person, I don't really recommend ever putting your life on hold. You've got to get on with your life. And if things are going to come back together, you'll have a hold on yourself, your self-respect, you know what I mean? Your self-esteem, and that we never put our life on hold for someone who's got things that are causing a false start, right? So that's that. And that's how I would work for someone in that particular instance. Now, in the instance of the candle image with the parasite, I actually called on Raphael. If you remember, I had an image of Archangel Raphael come up many years ago, leaning or standing and connected to the candle holder. And it just blew my mind, guys. It just blew my mind. I'd worked with Raphael in the astral, in the dream time, and then on another occasion, but not much after that. I've told the story of how I actually did do a working during just a couple years ago. A friend of my ex-husband's got COVID. And so I did a particular working with Raphael in a new way I'd never done before. Now, for this image in the candle, I took Raphael's picture and put it beside it. And then I showed the client's picture and I wrote the name and the birth date. And I made a sigil and I gave an offering. And I said, please, can you help? Can you do anything to help? I didn't take notes, guys. I should have. But I think I just burned the sigil and then threw it out. I think I had a tea light candle burning. And I just went to bed. Now, sometime in the night, I heard a loud pop over here on my dresser, my north altar. And it was basically where I had set up that image that was left behind in the wax, next to a tiny little glass vase. And then the image of Raphael, or the little candle of Raphael, was near that. So it could have been that the energy was affected by Raphael being next to it, and something popped, was some it reacted to Raphael being so close to it, and it made that vase crack. I thought my cats had jumped up and done something, so I yelled at the cats to get down, and I went back to sleep. And it was several days before I realized there was a huge chunk taken out of that vase. It didn't just crack. It broke. A piece broke off. So whatever energy reacted to Raphael and made the glass break is a reaction, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this particular attachment is released. Now, I think this is an interesting example of how that kind of a strong energy is actually in that wax image. And so I've covered it with a big cloche to keep that energy contained in itself. So when we're dealing with negative emotions, what we could do after this is also follow up with a white candle with some cleansing oil or some healing heart oil, which is actually going to be one of my next oils that I'm going to be listing on my website, my coffee account. Okay. So we would take the white candle that's been anointed and we would put the flame at the bottom of this to get rid of these hurt feelings and these negative emotions and melt it away. That way, we're not keeping this negative energy around. We're blessing it, we're letting it go. And then, of course, we would dispose of the candle. There's no need to continue burning it, really. Unless we decide that we want to re-anoint it with healing heart and then continue burning it. It would be returned to Mother Earth. But that's the amazing power of the sacred flame. It really is. So, I mean, if you didn't know, I've heard that if a candle shows a scorpion tail, you can do the same thing, right? You would take a white candle with cleansing oil, you would anoint it, you would hold it, you would talk to it, charge it, call on your spirit guides or guardians, and ask to cleanse away whatever betrayal or negativity is really wanting to come into your life. And that way you can at least lessen the attempt at betraying you or hurting you, or be prepared and maybe need to find out the truth of someone who you thought was a friend and is really a frenemy. I love Scorpio for that reason. The thing about Scorpio is that it has an amazing ability to really reveal truths. It gets down to the root, the nitty gritty, and that way it can either cut out the disease of the issue, break up the fakeness of a relationship, show you who your frenemies are. So that's all I have to say about that. If you were to burn the scorpion tail and something still happens, then we have to accept the fact that if we need to be betrayed in order to realize that someone really was not ever the person that we thought that they were for us, right? I don't see anybody really showing who they are here or asking me any questions. I'm going to continue to talk about this type of spiritual work. I've said before, there's a reason why people are so enamored by candles. There's something about the flame that speaks to us. It also activates our psychic centers. And the more you actually feel connected and work with it and meditate beside it or even ask a question, the more you can get your intuition to really start developing and working for you. And you can take a psychic eye oil like this one And you can anoint your crown, your third eye, before you lay down beside a candle or do your candle work, or ding your singing bowl and relax so that you can have the full relaxation experience. It does have some mugwort in it, and that is very, very good for helping to relax the mind. The strongest note is jasmine. So this is one of the stronger smelling oils that I make. I don't like to make them strong because you might want to add something yourself to it. But this one does have a top note smell of jasmine, okay? So you'll only need a couple of drops. Take one drop, put it on your fingers, anoint your third eye, your crown, your throat, your wrist. And of course, take another drop and anoint your candle any way you want to anoint it. Get that on there and then light it. So for meditation, yoga, singing bowl, crystal bowl, anything where you have your little spiritual practice and your little private spiritual time. All these things we do help to take us out of the mundane, even though a lot of the things we do are spiritual. We're exiting that physical realm and we're asking to get more and more into the spiritual realm to receive messages, images. All right. So if that sounds interesting to you, please check it out on my Coffee account. You can also make a donation there. You can also make a donation at my PayPal for this channel. I appreciate anything and anybody that can really show appreciation for everything I've done. I'm really going to be repurposing a lot of the videos that I've already made and creating clips for shorts. And then I'll be making some new shorts to demonstrate more specifically, quickly, in a 3-minute short, how to use an oil in a specific way. And there's a lot of really good descriptions now for how to use the oils. I just put my fiery wall of protection oil around my kitchen counters because I got a roach problem. And it's the first time I've seen a roach come out after I got around to the other side and run towards me. Usually they run away from me, but it wanted to get away from that fiery wall oil. It's hot and spicy. So I don't know who's here. If you could say hello. Oh, I see a heart. Thank you. Are there any questions about what it means to have the element of fire be a portal to the spirit realm? That's what it is, guys. It's like a little, I work a lot with the elements. The elements really do have sort of like fire has sort of a consciousness of itself. Like air can hold images and memories. It's its own type of spiritual energy. Fire's different. Fire's purifying. There's a lot of amazing images that can show up in candle wax. If you go watch my shorts, I have a playlist on, I think, candle wax images, and you'll see where I've showed some of them that I thought were really interesting. One looked like a snake. I didn't know what that was going to mean. I was going to be working with snake energy within a few months after that. And then another one actually showed an image left behind like a photograph. And this was after doing a cord cutting. And I had a question about someone. What were they doing? You know how you just wonder what's going on, things aren't quite right. And I literally saw a man and a girl sitting together, and the girl wasn't me. So it's better to know the truth and face it, even if you cry. And it was absolutely remarkable. And Spirit said, here's the truth. All right, everybody. Happy Father's Day. And please take a look at my website and the service I have to offer. If you have any questions, you can leave me a message there, or you can message me first at my email, modernmagic88@gmail.com. And that's magic with a K. And I am having an introductory offer on this type of premium candle work right now for $88. And I'm going to extend it beyond a week, and I'm going to let it go until, let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Yeah, I'm going to let it go for longer than a week. All right. I really need people to get the word out. So if you can follow on my coffee account, please spread the word that if someone has a vexing problem, they want me to cut a cord and then help them create a new path to bring someone else or something else in new. That's what I can do. And as well as receiving the divination, which usually brings me some kind of information in a dream. All right. So it's like a double action working there that I'm providing right now for the $88. And make a donation or spread the word. And if you feel like you're ready to have a service to get a vexing question answered, then consider ordering this premium service for $88. All right, that's it. And please watch for me posting the other oils that I have made onto my coffee account. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, your week, and watch for new 3-minute shorts, okay? That's basically what I'm going to be doing while I'm focusing on repurposing other old videos, cleaning up my digital descriptions, and adding links and so forth. And I'll keep you posted, all right? Keep watching for updates on my community posts, which means you need to subscribe and hit the all bell. Namaste. Blessed be. Stay calm. Carry on. Until next time. Good night.